Hello fellow gardeners and welcome back to the Humus Heritage. I'm thrilled you're here today because we're about to tackle one of the most wasteful habits in gardening, throwing away old potting soil. If you've ever looked at that compacted, lifeless-looking soil from last season's containers and assumed it was done for, you're not alone. But here's the truth that might surprise you, that so-called dead soil is actually a gold mine waiting to be rediscovered. Today, I'm going to walk you through the complete process of transforming that discarded dirt into nutrient-rich super soil that will have your plants thriving like never before. Not only will this save you serious money, but you'll also be taking a significant step toward more sustainable gardening practices. Let's dive right in and bring that soil back to life. Before we start mixing and amending, let's address the fundamental misconception about used potting soil. When you pull out last year's tomato plant or empty that container of spent annuals, the soil might look exhausted, compacted, and utterly lifeless. However, what you're really seeing is depleted soil, not dead soil. Over a growing season, plants extract nutrients, beneficial microorganisms decline, and the physical structure breaks down as organic matter decomposes. The soil becomes hydrophobic, meaning it actually repels water rather than absorbing it, and the once fluffy texture turns into a dense, cement-like mass. But here's the exciting part. The foundation is still there. Think of it like a rechargeable battery that's simply run down. The mineral components, the organic matter remnants, and even some dormant beneficial organisms are still present. This existing base is actually superior to starting from scratch because it already has established structure and history. Your job isn't to create soil from nothing, it's to reawaken what's already there and supercharge it with the elements that have been depleted. Now that you understand you're working with a sleeping giant rather than a corpse, let's talk about what you need to bring it back to vigorous life. The transformation requires 4 key categories of amendments, each playing a crucial role in the revival process. First, you'll need high-quality compost, which serves as the nutritional powerhouse of your rejuvenation recipe. Compost reintroduces organic matter, provides a broad spectrum of nutrients, and most importantly, brings millions of beneficial microorganisms back into the soil ecosystem. Aim to source well-aged compost that's dark, crumbly, and has that pleasant earthy smell. This indicates the decomposition process is complete and the material is ready to support plant life. Second, worm castings are your secret weapon for microbial inoculation. These aren't just any castings, they're packed with beneficial bacteria, enzymes, and immediately available nutrients in forms plants can absorb directly. Third, you'll need structural amendments like perlite, vermiculite, or cocoa coir to address the physical compaction that's occurred. These materials create air pockets, improve drainage, and help water distribute evenly throughout the soil rather than running off the surface. Finally, you'll want a slow-release organic fertilizer to provide sustained nutrition. Options like blood meal, bone meal, or well-aged chicken manure release nutrients gradually over weeks and months, ensuring your plants have consistent access to what they need without the boom and bust cycle of synthetic fertilizers. Alright, let's get our hands dirty with the actual rejuvenation process. Start by spreading your old potting soil on a large tarp or, a hard surface in a sunny spot. This might seem a little counterintuitive since we want moist, living soil, but this drying period actually serves several purposes. It kills off any potential pathogens, breaks the hydrophobic surface tension, and makes the soil much easier to work with. Once it's thoroughly dried, which usually takes about 2 to 3 days, depending on the weather, begin breaking up all those compacted clumps with your hands or a soil scoop. As you work through the material, go ahead and remove any large root pieces, rocks, sticks, or other debris. These don't add any value and can harbor pests or diseases. For those who want to go the extra mile, sifting the soil through hardware cloth or a large mesh screen removes finer debris and gives you an even more workable texture. Now comes the magic of mixing. In a large container, wheelbarrow, or just right on your tarp, start combining your old soil with the amendments. For every 3 parts of old soil, add 1 part compost, aiming for about a 25 to 30% compost ratio. Next, incorporate worm castings at about 10 to 15% of your total volume. It might seem like a small amount, but trust me, these castings are incredibly potent and a little goes a long way. Add your structural amendments next, mixing in perlite or cocoa coir at about 10 to 20%, depending on how compacted your original soil was. Finally, sprinkle in your slow-release fertilizer according to package directions. typically around 1 to 2 tablespoons per gallon of soil mix. Once you've nailed the basic rejuvenation process, there are a few advanced strategies that can really take your super soil to the next level. Consider adding mycorrhizal fungi, which form symbiotic relationships with plant roots and dramatically boost their ability to absorb water and nutrients from the soil. These beneficial fungi basically extend your plant's root system by hundreds of times, accessing nutrients that would otherwise just stay locked away. You can pick up mycorrhizal inoculants at most garden centers, and just a little mixed into your rejuvenated soil gives lasting benefits. Another game-changing amendment is biochar, which is basically charcoal made specifically for soil improvement. Biochar has an incredibly porous structure that acts like a sponge for both nutrients and water, slowly releasing them to plants over time and also providing habitat for beneficial microorganisms. It's especially valuable because it stays stable in soil for decades or even centuries, continually improving soil quality year after year. For anyone interested in creating a truly living soil ecosystem, try brewing compost tea and using it to moisten your rejuvenated soil mix. This liquid is packed with beneficial bacteria, fungi, and protozoa that colonize your soil and create a thriving underground ecosystem. The final moisture level of your revitalized soil is crucial. It should be damp enough that when you squeeze a handful, it holds together but crumbles easily when poked. That means you've got the perfect moisture for storing or planting right away. Now, it's time to put your super soil to work. Your transformed soil is ready to support vigorous plant growth in ways that might honestly surprise you. Plants growing in properly rejuvenated soil show deeper green foliage, stronger stems, more robust root systems, and a noticeable boost in resistance to pests and diseases. This isn't just marketing hype, it's the result of giving your plants a complete, balanced growing environment, not just a basic medium to hold their roots. You can use your super soil for repotting houseplants, filling containers for veggies and flowers, top-dressing garden beds, or even as a base for starting seeds. If you end up with extra, just store it in sealed containers or bags in a cool, dry spot, and it will stay good for months. The best part is, you're creating a renewable resource. Each time you empty containers at the end of the season, you're just adding more material to rejuvenate with this same process. Pretty soon, you'll find yourself with an abundant supply of premium growing medium without having to spend a fortune at the garden center every spring. If you found this guide helpful and want to keep learning sustainable gardening techniques that save money while improving your results, make sure to subscribe to the Humus Heritage channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss our next video. Share this with fellow gardeners who might still be tossing out perfectly good soil, and let's build a community committed to smarter, more sustainable growing practices. Happy gardening, and I'll see you in the next video.